Welcome back to Movies Explained. Today's film is an action thriller from 1998 titled The Siege. The film opens with a news telecast reporting on a terrorist named Sheikh Talal bombing American militants in Saudi Arabia. Talal flees in his car.
Ahmed bin Talal, a radical fundamentalist cleric known to have issued a...
The explosion appears to be the work of terrorists. And if that is the case, like all Americans, I am outraged by it.
But gets caught by the American Black Ops, who kill his men and set his car on fire.
This is Sam Leader. Sheikh is in our custody.
Scenes cut to the FBI agent Anthony, who's reported by his partner, Frank, about the New York police seeking their help in a possible bombing situation. Someone has rigged a bus with bombs, which has hostages locked in it. As the two partners gear up to reach the site, the bomb squad is already speculating about the bus. To their surprise, the bomb explodes and covers everything in blue paint, revealing it was only a paint bomb. Hence, they inform Anthony about this. Later, Anthony and his agents are seen playing the recording they found from inside the bus. It's a warning from an anonymous person to use real explosives next time. Anthony and his agents try to figure out what the person threatening them actually wants, because he hasn't stated his purpose. One of their agents hands Anthony a fax consisting of 2 words: release him. Simultaneously, the FBI is reported of a CIA agent intervening in their case. So Anthony pays a visit at the crime site and speaks to Elise Kraft from the CIA. She implies that her department and the FBI technically work on the same things, but Anthony clears out their differences and asks her not to intervene in the federal matters. Despite their differences, he asks Elise to report anything she knows about the case, but she acts weird and decides to leave. Anthony finds her behavior suspicious and asks his agent Floyd to follow her. The next day, Anthony and Frank are called to the airport's immigration department, where suspicious activity has been spotted. Anthony and Frank are taken to a Muslim traveler named Khalil, who's been stopped for carrying $10,000 cash in his suitcase. Khalil defends himself, claiming that he's carrying the cash for his dowry as he's about to be married. Since they have no solid evidence against him, they let him go. But Anthony asks his agents to secretly follow him to keep track of his activities. Next, Anthony and Frank tail Khalil in their car, while multiple agents in disguise keep track of him.
He's all yours, Ray. Go a little softer on him, okay? Pass him off to Patsy. Patsy, watch out for reflections. Ray, okay, you got him.
When they spot him meeting another person, Agent Mike is asked to film them. He ends up making eye contact with Khalil, who runs away immediately and flees in a red van. Luckily, they catch a glimpse of the number plate and make phone calls to find out the owner of the van, but get disappointed when they find out the van has been reported stolen and missing. Simultaneously, Floyd calls Anthony to report that he followed Elise all the way and saw her agents mingling with Khalil. He sends Anthony their hideout address, where Anthony raids with his agents. While the FBI agents hold the CIA operatives under their gunpoints, Anthony goes straight into the basement, where he finds Khalil and Elise teamed up. When Elise refuses to tell anything about how she's related to Khalil, Anthony arrests her along with Khalil. On their way back, Anthony and Frank are called at the same time for an emergency update. When they drive to the tolled site, they spot another bus taken hostage by the terrorists and surrounded by the cops from all directions. This time, there are 3 terrorists inside the bus. Elise suggests killing the terrorists before they bomb the van, but Anthony and Frank want to negotiate with the captives inside the bus. Anthony connects with the bus's radio frequency and gets Frank to translate his words into Arabic for the terrorists to understand. Anthony requests that they spare the innocent kids at least, so they open the bus gate and let all the kids out.
Thank you. The best way to get what you want in this situation is to show yourself to be reasonable. What you've done.
Anthony swears that he won't let the cops hurt them if they let all the old citizens out. As they're about to send the old ones out, the bus explodes for real this time.
Now we just
The strong shockwaves injure the cops as well. Anthony also hits the ground with his nose bleeding. Up next, he holds a meeting at the FBI center, where he encourages his agents to use all their information sources to identify the terrorists who died in the bombing. After adjourning the meeting due to a nosebleed, Anthony pays Khalil a visit in the interrogation room, where Khalil reveals he was given $200 by his cousin to move the cash to an apartment in Brooklyn. Meanwhile, all the agents get on their phones and computers to investigate the terrorists by using the little remains they've collected after the bombing. One of the fingerprints matches a terrorist profile of Ali Waziri. Anthony is called back into the meeting for that. He reveals Ali's identity, while Agent Tina raises questions about how Ali entered America 3 days ago when he was on their terrorist watch list. The desk agents inform Anthony that he got into America through a student visa, so he asks them to retrieve the visa no matter what it takes. Anthony visits Elise, who still hasn't called to be bailed out. He takes her out to eat, where she sheds light on the extraction of the Iraqi religious leader, Sheikh Talal, who was accused of bombing the American militants shown in the film's beginning. Anthony figures it's his devoted followers trying to protest to free Talal by bombing buses. Frank shows up there with the news of finding leads on Ali's visa. He takes Anthony and Elise in his car and follows a college professor named Samir, who approved Ali's visa application. Elise tries to protect Samir, but Frank still arrests him for bombing the buses. Back to their bureau, Anthony figures out Elise is Samir's handler. She admits to it and negotiates that she be set free with him to help the FBI catch more terrorist rings. They let her and Samir go. In a rented room, we see a connection between the two, revealing they're more than acquaintances. Anthony is called by Floyd and given an address to show up to. Meanwhile, Samir opens up about his brother, who was once a movie buff, but soon got brainwashed by some sheikh into blowing up a theater in order to enter paradise to seek endless pleasures. Unbeknownst to them, Anthony and his agents are spying on them from a parallel rooftop. The next day, General William joins Anthony in his office. Anthony shares his views about linking Sheikh Talal to the bombings, but Williams tries to convince him otherwise, saying Talal is dead. That day, the FBI is called into a building where the owner complains about 3 Arabic tenants who never leave their room and always order pizza. Anthony and Frank eavesdrop on their conversations by bugging their room and confirm they're a part of a terrorist ring. Now, they send a disguised agent to deliver the pizza, while an entire SWAT team is sent behind him. They trick the terrorists and kill them all. They also find out bomb components there and are relieved to realize they prevented an upcoming bomb. When they go out and celebrate this, they get called outside the theater that has been bombed and destroyed. The New York public starts fearing the terrorists, so Anthony calls in a strategy meeting where he asks the law enforcement officers for a solution to end the bombings. Suddenly, everyone's phones start ringing, alerting them of the school under terrorist attack that their kids go to. Anthony and his agents help rescue the kids and kill the terrorists. Up next, a meeting of the superior officials is called in Washington regarding the bombings. General Williams and Anthony are also in the meeting, who vote against the martial law that the other leaders are suggesting to impose in New York to prevent the bombings. Anthony points out that the martial law will only help the terrorists hide deeper. Now the CIA director calls in his best agent to shed light on the terrorists. It turns out to be Elise. She details how these terrorists have rings within rings, each with their own motives. While the meeting stays in motion, a terrorist truck crashes into a federal plaza back in New York and bombs the plaza.
This is a tragedy of staggering. One federal plaza.
More than 600 people die. Anthony argues with Elise for not getting any information from Samir about the recent bombing. The next day, we see General Williams approving the idea of martial law. Anthony finds out through the news that the army has imposed martial law after the latest bombing and is not only depriving people of their privacy by checking their homes and vehicles, but also targeting all the Muslims and Arabic people. Anthony goes to change General Williams' opinion about the invasive martial law, but he tells Anthony to get out. Anthony meets up with Samir and asks him to help the FBI catch the terrorists to put an end to Williams' martial law. Samir leads them to a man named Tariq, but the army sabotages their raid and starts bombing the auto shop Tariq is in. Anthony manages to drag Tariq out of the shop and surrenders in front of the army. On the other hand, the army has created a square prison in the open and is capturing every Arab and Muslim. Among many captives, Frank's son and wife have been captured too for being Arabic. He vents out his frustration about the system rewarding him with this humiliation after devoting his entire life to the system. He throws his FBI badge and quits. Anthony goes to confront Williams about the absurd things he's doing, but William remains unbothered. Anthony goes to interrogate Tariq with Elise, whom William and his soldiers torture and kill. Hopeless, Anthony meets up with the CIA APOS director and speaks of the monstrosities of the army. The director reveals that William was behind Sheikh Talal's extraction and suggests that he hears the rest from Elise, who's in Anthony's car. When he asks her about this, she breaks into tears while revealing she was sent to Iraq to work with Talal on behalf of America, so they could overthrow Saddam Hussein's government. She helped recruit young boys, such as Samir, and taught them how to make bombs. On a random day, the Americans changed their minds and decided to pull their armies out of there. She managed to smuggle Samir and others into America, while Talal was left to fight the battles on his own, prompting her brought-in boys to spread terrorism in America. Now knowing the truth, Anthony approaches Frank and asks him to return. Meanwhile, Elise convinces Samir to take her to the last terrorist ring. He takes her to a public pool, where Elise figures Samir is the last terrorist standing. Samir points his gun at her and announces that the terror has only just begun while wearing a bomb jacket. Anthony and Frank show up at the right time with their guns pointed at Samir. He holds Elise as his hostage, and when she tries running away, he shoots her. In response, Anthony and Frank fry him with their gunshots, ultimately killing the last terrorist. Now, Anthony returns to William and asks him to pull out his army from the city, but his ego doesn't allow him to take orders from Anthony. Anthony confesses he knows the terrorism began due to his illegal extraction of Talal, and also shows him the court order, demanding to free the violated and detained people. But William believes his authority is superior to the court, since he follows the president's direct orders. Anthony plays his final cards and issues an arrest warrant for torturing and killing Tariq in front of the FBI, and the havoc wreaked in the name of martial law. He decides to order his soldiers to open fire, but when Anthony points out they aren't as inhuman as he is, William surrenders and lets the agents take him away. Anthony now frees the prisoners with a big smile. Here, the film ends. I am sure you liked the story recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.